Hey, what's up? In this video, I'm going to show you how to create and use class libraries. I'm also going to talk in depth about certain things. So let's go to new project here, select Visual C# class library, and choose your framework version. You can go all the way down to 2 if you want. I'm going to leave it at 4.5. Give it a name. I'm just going to call this my appy. A lot of people postfix their name with the term lib, and I really don't see the benefit of doing this, so I don't do it myself. I'm either giving it a somewhat descriptive Swagger name, or I'm giving it a name so that it directly corresponds to the technology that I'm interfacing with. So if I make an appy for a renowned technology like ninjawords.com, then I'm going to call my class library NinjaWords appy, because it makes it easier for people to find and people will know immediately what it does. And if you're just doing like a plain Jane class library just for abstractions for a project that doesn't correspond to a renowned technology, then you might just want to think of some sort of Swagger name for it. Alright, so I have a class library subdirectory that I put my class libraries under to keep my projects directory browsable. Alright, so I'm going to check create directory for solution, because you want to keep all of the projects associated with this solution under a master directory. And you're going to want at least one other project, and that would be the demo or test project, and then possibly some other projects for unit testing. Alright, so let's hit OK, and I'm just going to make this name unique. In this case, the class library compiles to a dynamic link library, and you can reference these dynamic link libraries from other class library projects and other Windows application projects. Alright, so what we're going to do is we're going to change up the assembly info and see what happens. So under the application tab, under the project properties, we're going to go into the assembly info and change up some stuff. So I'm just going to give these markings here so we can see where they appear. For company name, if you don't have a company name or an organization name, then I suggest putting your actual name in there. Makes it easier for people to find who to give credit to. And to further increase these chances, you can put your company name down in the copyright notice here, and you'll see why later. Alright, so I'm going to hit OK, and I'm going to build. We can go into the properties node of the solution, hit assembly info, and you'll see that what we have set through that dialog is these attributes here. So general information about an assembly is controlled through the following set of attributes. Change these attribute values to modify the information associated with an assembly. Alright, so let's take a look at the details of the assembly. So you have the file description here, that is the title, and the product name, that is the product field, and there's the copyright notice. You can see that the company name isn't present in the details here, but the copyright notice is, and that is why it might make it a bit easier for people to find the author. And yeah, sometimes your assemblies will get deployed so much that the information associated with the assembly is just not present, and people would have to go into the details to find out who to give credit to. Something like that, something along those lines. I also forgot to mention the trademark. So I assume that you would just put the trademark in if you have a trademark, so it lessens the chances of other people labeling their stuff close to your trademark. But if you don't have a trademark, then you don't need to worry about that stuff. Alright, so we're going to change this default class to static. This is a class provided to you because Microsoft assumes that you want at least one class in your class library. So we're going to do get num1 and get num2. This one's going to return 1 and this one's going to return 2. And we're going to mark this as internal. It's important to know when to mark things as internal because this makes sure that the members or the class, the type, is only accessible within the assembly. And when you use internal properly, you can make your abstraction more abstracting. You want to only expose what is important of your class library. All right, so I'm going to give the class a summary. Alrighty, so I'm going to build it and we are going to add a demo project. So it's going to be a Windows Forms application. I'm going to call it My Appy 2 Demo. It's pretty common to postfix the name with the term demo for short for demonstration, even if it's just for testing the class library. Okay, so we're going to right click on this project and set it as the starter project. So when we press F5, then it is started up. All right, we're going to reference My Appy 2, and all you have to do is go up to the Solutions tab and select My Appy 2. All right, so let's use class 1. So there's class 1 we're going to call getNum. That is the only member that we can access. And you can see that class 1 has its summary, even though that we're not generating XML documentation. I believe it's because it knows exactly where the source is and it can extract the documentation from the source. You can see that when I press F12 on the member, it goes right to the type. But if we are to take this project out of here, so I'm going to delete My Appy 2 Demo, we're going to take it out of the solution and put it elsewhere. Actually, I don't even, well, let's just try leaving it in the same spot and then open up the project as a separate entity. It should not be able to find the summaries, the XML documentation. What? It opened up the old solution. Sorry, I'm gonna have to save this, try it again. I did not know that would happen. I clicked on the project, tried to open up the demo project. It reopened the solution that it's associated with. I was unaware of that behavior. All right. So let's check this, make sure that the reference is fixed. Well, let's it isn't, so let's fix it. We're going to go to Browse and find the appropriate DLL. That is under Class Libraries. I called it My Appy 2. I'm going to build it. And you can see that I no longer have my summaries. And if I press F12, it goes into the metadata and it doesn't have any summaries. Usually when you press F12 on a type, even if it's in a a separate DLL, it will extract the appropriate summaries, the XML documentation for that stuff. But it's not, because I'm not generating XML documentation for this DLL. So in the Appy, if you want to make your XML documentation available to anybody using this stuff outside of the solution, then you're going to want to go to Build and select XML documentation file and generate at least generate something for the release build configuration. That's where it's most valuable. And you'll be able to see all the XML documentation now. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to have to re-add the reference to update it or whatever. So I'm going to go down to recent, and it's in here somewhere. There it is. And you can see that I now have my class 1 XML documentation. You can see the summary down there. And it's because I'm generating a proper XML documentation file. So let's go into the debug directory, and you can see that we have this API2 XML file, and that is just my summaries and stuff. It's important to have that present to be able to you know, see all the XML documentation when you're referencing and using a DLL. So if you're going to deploy a DLL, make sure that you generate the appropriate documentation and deploy them with each other. I think by default that generate XML thing is set to false because it affects the build time quite a bit. And that's all about class libraries. See you next video.